I think most of you people are familiar today now. In India, the lockdown is almost, we are going to touch 100 days, the lockdown. And globally, it is from last 4.5 to 5 months. Closely around 1.1 crore people got affected with this COVID situation. And in India, we already touched closely around 500,000 cases. So in this kind of a situation, I think 95% of the education institutions in the world are affected, and closely around 1.6 billion students, they are unable to attend the day-to-day classes in a classroom. And if it comes to the India, the scenario is we are one of the largest education system of the world, where we have more than 1,000 universities and 46,000 colleges and 652,000 schools. With all together, we have a student strength of 292 million students, so which is one of the largest. So till we can call the before Corona, all the universities and colleges and institutions were focusing more on the infrastructure development. That means what I'm trying to say is the major money of any institutions are spent on infrastructure development and acquiring the land. So most of the advertisements when you see for admissions, the universities used to focus that their campus is that much big. They have so many thousands, lakhs of square feet of place and all. So now all these institutions, they are all in a lockdown mode. So there is nothing is happening. So the complete infrastructure is unutilized. There is no stakeholder sitting in the campus, including the owners of the institutions. So this is a kind of a scenario we have India as well as across the world. So when it comes to scenario in India, especially during this time, most of the colleges we start our the new academic year, but now we are uncertain that when we will start the classes, because majority of the courses exams are not over, including I think Tamilnadu is the first state to announce there is no exams for SLC, that is SSC, the 10th standard. So now I think most of the states are following that. I think looking at the pandemic situation and the crisis, I think most of the exams will be cancelled. And there is one more alarming situation is, most of the entrance examinations where huge number of students used to attend, that also getting affected. I think till now, no entrance exam date is confirmedly announced. So this is a scenario in a higher education. Apart from that, there is a huge crisis in admission scenario in the India, because I'm in regular touch with a large number of promoters in India through my association in different bodies. So when we were in regular touch and connecting with these people, in India, most of 90% of the institutions are unable to touch even 60% of admissions till now, where every year normally we start the new batch. And when it comes to, again, the primary education, it got so much impacted, where there is a lot of uncertainty, where people are unable to collect fees, and some of the state governments, including the place where I am sitting, that is the Karnataka, Bangalore, where they announced initially the online classes are banned up to the primary education. And parents are not willing to send their kids to schools, and not unable to attend the online classes. They are not paying the fees. So this is the kind of situation in Indian higher education, especially primary education. And when it comes to the higher education, again, most of our faculty, because this pandemic happened suddenly, then we are not trying. So when I was telling about these all university strength, not even 5% of the universities or colleges in India are geared up or got a technology to deliver online classes at initial stage. So now I think in the last 95, 96 days, people are become experts, and I keep seeing a lot of webinars, a lot of online deliveries happening, and things were moving, in a good way. So, but if the situation, like I was just listening to previous speaker, as well as attending a couple of webinars as a speaker, as a participant. So what I see is, I think this pandemic situation is not going to end immediately, and this is going to continue for the next 5-6 months before the vaccine comes into the market. Then again, there is a good news about the vaccine. First news coming from India itself. There is a company called Bharat Biotech, which is promoted by Dr. Krishnan, a good friend of mine. They are planning to launch the vaccine. I think their vaccine will come from India first before the international players introduce. And they already named the vaccine name as Covaxin. And definitely, I think they will get this vaccine at very reasonable price, where everyone can able to afford. So what I'm trying to say is, before vaccine, I think things will not move. I think people are looking for a safety, people looking for their lives than economy. So again, coming to economy and education scenario in the country, I think 80% of the industries got affected because of the COVID-19 situation, and most of industries are in an alarming situation. In fact, I was just reading some of the reports from McKinsey and Goldman Sachs, KPMG and E&Y. I think most of startups, especially, which started less than 4 or 5 years back, are in a very critical situation. And in fact, the SoftBank recently announced their financial result, and there is a great crisis situation in the startups, where they're given and invested a lot of venture capital. So I think 20 of their startups are about to close, and I think they're degrowing. I think today, if you look at the global economy of 100 trillion, because of this pandemic situation, I think 25% of the economy in the last 3 or 4 months got affected. And even in India, the situation is out of 3 trillion economy of India. I think we are also affected closely around 22% economy slump. So when I was just part of the webinar of Digital India Initiative just a couple of minutes back, we were talking with a couple of founders of Paytm, Big Basket, Ola, and these all Book My Show founders. So the situation is same, of most of the industries in India. So the same critical situation is also there across the globe. So then, if this is a scenario, if this is a condition, then what about survival of Indian education? So if you look at the global higher education scenario, the universities like Harvard, Oxford, Kellogg's, Wharton, MIT, all these universities got a long history of making a huge revenues, but majority of these universities, the revenue comes not only from admissions. They have multiple kind of revenue models in their system. So for example, if you look at Harvard, they publish so many publications, books, consulting, the Corpus Fund, alumni, the Corpus Fund, which they donate. So all this industry consultation, all this is a huge earnings. If you look at Oxford University, again, the entire Oxford town is belong to Oxford, where they run so many museums and shops and outlets. In fact, Oxford is with more than 1,000 years of history, the first university in the world. So all these universities itself is facing trouble. So I keep reading from these university reports that first time in the history, These all Ivy League universities are relaxing the norms to enter into their universities for admissions. Earlier, they used to take students only with 95% above with a good GRE, GMAT, and TOEFL IELTS scores. Now, everything they are relaxing because they see there is a drop of 40 to 50% in admission numbers. And if you look at these universities, why I'm differing, comparing with Indian universities. In India, we don't have any university to give example that they have huge earnings apart from admissions. So the survival of Indian universities will be very, very critical in the coming months. If this same will continue, I think we will have a major impact in education system in the country. So that is the reason, in fact, we represented and given a couple of proposals to Indian government, where the finance minister recently announced to allow more than 100 universities to offer online degree programs, and also they announced that people, the students can able to take a dual degree, one from a regular and the other one is through online. And earlier they used to say the online degree is not recognized. Now they say, yeah, it is recognized, and they themselves, suggesting to take admission into the second program. So in this critical situation, I strongly feel we need a lot of changes, a lot of technology moves in education to survive, because we don't have platforms like Coursera or Khan Academy or edX. The other good advantage is, our teaching community is now familiar with delivering online classes, and still a long way to go on the quality, on the delivery, on the content development. Still, there is a need of a lot of growth. So when you look at this Coursera and Khan Academy and edX of international platforms, with a very short span of time, they have a huge millions of students enrolled in their platforms. Unlike we don't have any university in India where equal to that number, not even 1/10 of that number. So how to survive then in this critical situation and scenario is the greatest challenge, and everybody is looking for inputs. So now what I'm trying to say today, you look at the top 100 companies of the world. Out of the top 100 companies of the world of 2019, and when you compare with exactly the 10 years back, 2009, in 2019, the top 100 company list, typically you have 47% is IT companies, where 10 years back, it was a different story. Only 9% of the companies are IT companies, and remaining is FMCG, the consumer goods, electronics, companies like Pepsi, companies like Coke, companies like pharmaceutical companies like Glaxo, Pfizer, Merck. These are the companies typically used to be in the top 100 companies. So today technology is overtaken these all things today. In fact, if you look at the richest people of the world, in the world, so again, the Fortune 500 people, the Forbes richest people are again people who are involved in IT. So what I'm trying to say is IT is the future. So I can say in this forum that today three things which changed the human civilization in this world is one is the computer invention. The second one is the internet. The third one is the mobile penetration. Today, I think 79% of the people are connected with mobile phones across the world. Out of 7.5 billion people in the world, almost 5.2 billion people are connected with the mobile phones, and slowly we are migrating towards the smartphone. And today, 60% of the people in the world are using smartphone, and by 2023, I think 85% of the people will have a smartphone, and 95% of the people will be connected with digitally using mobile. And now, if you talk about digital technology again, 80% of our transactions are happening in using digital, that is mobile. Slowly, the usage of internet, the usage of different apps are going. Hope you might have seen when the Indian government is banned 59 apps of the China origin. You can see the number of people using the TikTok, the number of using the other is a huge numbers. So today, if you talk about again social media platform, the Facebook group itself, the Facebook and Instagram, Messenger, WhatsApp, all together, we have more than 2.8 billion people using these all platforms. So these all, kind of, largest user base is increasing. Slowly, we have to develop the entrepreneur skills on the people using the technology. So again, if you talk about the positive scenario in the COVID situation, I think, most of the student population, normally, if you look at the US university scenario, I think the largest student population in any university in US is the second largest is India. So this year, I think most of our students who are going from India to US or UK or to Germany, other parts of the world, are changing their admission criteria, and they are deferring their admission, and they are planning to take admissions in India itself. So that is a good scenario where I see a lot of bright students are started applying for a good colleges and universities. We keep interacting with a couple of people, and these reports shows that a good number of applications are coming from students who are normally used to go to other countries. So the other scenario is a lot of migration of people are happening now to their home countries during this COVID scenario. Hope you might have seen the number of flights India operated to bring back people from across the world. In this kind of a scenario, we normally say India is the largest democratic country, where out of 1.3 billion people in India, we have closely 60% of our population are below 30 age. So that is always we say India advantage as a demographic dividend before Corona. But now after the Corona, now things are slowly moving now. I keep seeing in the chat box a couple of questions are job market, what kind of opportunities after Corona, what they have to do. So these all kind of scenario is there in the minds of every student now. And most of the universities and colleges till by this time, the students, they get into placement mode, and 65 to 70% of the students get placement by this time, and they start working. So, but this year things are affected. Not even 10% of the students able to start work, because still the result is not announced in engineering and graduation colleges and post-graduation colleges, and they are uncertain what to do, how to go about, and what exactly will happen to their career. So now again, there is a lot of migration of people from other countries coming to India for work, and how we can able to place. So the good thing is, I think we are getting a very good, talented pool of people who are working in top companies of the world. And out of these people who are coming, I think some of the people definitely, they will start their own ventures, and slowly they will try to give some opportunities to people. So that will be a very positive impact. This other positive impact, what we can say is the largest economy of the world, that is the US, with a $20 trillion. If you talk about the success of US economy of 20 trillion, again, the major share goes to India, where 14% of contribution comes from Indian professionals who are settled or who are working in US as a doctors, as a professor, as a IT professionals, are in some other part of industries. So now, if you look at the top 10 companies of the world, again, the Indian people are heading these companies. We should be proud that people like Satya Nadella, who heads the #1 IT company of the world, the Microsoft, and again the Google, again the global company is headed by none other than our South Indian Sundar Pichai. Then again the IBM, which is a 107-year-old company with a large number of employees, more than 2 million people working across 200 countries, again headed by none other than South Indian called Ajay Krishnan. Then we have again the Pepsi is headed by Indra Nooyi, and like that you have so many examples of Indian people shining globally different positions. So these all things are gradually going to change. I think India is going to be a emerging market in coming years. It will not happen suddenly, but definitely I think in the next coming 5 to 10 years, India will lead into the global market, and we will be leader right now. If you look at some of the aspects, like especially in pharmaceutical industry, some of our pharmaceutical products like hydroxychloroquine and dexamethasone and the antiviral drugs, which are exported to more than 150 countries. And there is a huge demand for Indian pharmaceutical products. And definitely, I think the vaccine also, India will be a first player to launch, that is the Covaxin definitely will come before the other international player. So this is a very positive thing and proactive steps of the Indian government and the industrial system, where we are definitely going in a right spirit. I think these all the crisis, these all scenario will be very short time. So we will come out of these crises and this situation in very short span. So we have to just wait and see how things will move and what direction we will go. Only thing is, some of the people were, in fact, asking. I see, what they have to do. They have a lot of free time, a lot of because of a COVID situation, no colleges, and most of the people are working from home. I think this is a great time. The COVID is given opportunity to us to learn, to upskill ourselves. Today, most of the courses which I mentioned from different platforms like a Coursera, Khan Academy, edX, even the Indian government launched with the AICTU, UGC, and MHRD jointly the Swayam platform, which is again developed by IIT Chennai professors. And in this platform, there are more than 52,000 hours of content, which cover a large number of programs, 24/7 people can able to attend. And there are so many digital platforms, digital books are available at free of cost. So this is, I think, a wonderful time to upskill ourselves, to enhance our knowledge. And definitely this will going to help to compete globally and to compete across the world. And the other scenario where most of the manufacturing companies which were outsourcing from China earlier are slowly moving towards India as their dream destination. In fact, today I was reading interview from the Hindustan, that is a Unilever global CEO. So there's all very positive news coming towards India. I think next 6-7 months will be a critical scenario what we are going to face. So be strong, no need of getting a panic. Life is more important than economy, as rightly told by our Honorable Prime Minister. So we have to keep ourselves safe and keep learning, and definitely we will be leaders globally in coming years. And there are great examples from India, like Baiju. I was just looking at Baiju performance. They are now one of the best startup of the world with a $6 billion market capitalization. Again, the big basket is growth is 32% with a 3.8 billion-dollar market capitalization. So we have a beautiful stories of Indian startups. The place where I live, the Bangalore itself is a great example where we have a 12 million population. Out of 12 million, we have closely 1/4 of the people are involved in technology. All the technological companies are headquartered here, and a lot of outsourcing are happening, and people working from home now. And most of the companies, including Infosys, TCS, Wipro, they are showing a positive performance. There is no layoff in these companies. And the other good news is all these CEOs are already clearly mentioned that whatever commitment they're given on campus placement, they are going to honor. They are not going to take back. So these are all a very good scenario, what I can see. So we need not to panic, be strong, and keep learning. And definitely India will be a great country to live, great country to progress, great place to dream and achieve big. So this is what I would like to share with all you people. And once again, thank you very much for your wonderful participation. I think now I will take a few questions, and surely hope I would like to learn from you people what exactly happening in different